This is Amelia Badelia by Peggy Parrish. Oh, Amelia Badelia, your first day of work and I can't be here, but I made a list for you. You do just what the list says Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers got into the car with Mr. Rogers and they drove away. My, what nice folks. I'm gonna like working here, said Amelia Badelia. So Amelia Badelia went inside. Such a grand house. These must be rich folks. But I must get to work. And me with this whole list of things to do. Amelia Badelia stood there a minute longer. I'll make a surprise for them. I'll make lemon meringue pie. I do make good pies. So Amelia Badelia went into the kitchen. She put in a little of this, a pinch of that into a bowl. She mixed and she rolled. Soon her pie was ready to go in the oven. There, said Amelia Badelia, that's done. Now, let's see what this list says, Amelia Badelia read. Change the towels in the green bathroom. Amelia Badelia found the green bathroom. Those towels are very nice. Why change them, she thought. Then Amelia Badelia remembered what Mrs. Rogers had said. She must do what the list told her. Well, all right, said Amelia Badelia. Amelia Badelia got some scissors. She snipped a little here and a little there. She changed those towels. There, said Amelia Badelia. Then she looked at her list again. Dust the furniture. Did you ever hear of such a silly thing? At my house, we undust the furniture. But to each his own way, Amelia Badelia went one last look at the bathroom. She saw a big box with the words dusting powder on it. Well, look at that! A special powder to dust with, exclaimed Amelia Badelia. So Amelia Badelia dusted the furniture. That should be dusty enough. My, how nice it smells! Draw the drapes when the sun comes in, read Amelia Badelia. She looked up. The sun was coming in. Amelia Badelia looked at the list again. Draw the drapes? That's what it says. I'm not much of a hand at drawing, but I'll try. So Amelia Badelia sat right down and she drew those drapes. Amelia Badelia marked off the drapes. Now what? Put the lights out when you finish in the living room. Amelia Badelia thought about this a minute. She switched off the lights, then she carefully unscrewed each bulb. And Amelia Badelia put the lights out. Those things need to be aired out too, just like pillows and babies. Oh, I do have a lot to learn. My pie, exclaimed Amelia Badelia. She hurried to the kitchen. Just right, she said. She took the pie out of the oven and put it on the table to cool. Then she looked at the list. Amelia Badelia found 2 cups. She filled them with rice, and Amelia Badelia measured the rice. Amelia Badelia laughed. These folks do want me to do funny things. Then she poured the rice back in the container. The meat market will deliver a steak and a chicken. Please trim the fat before you put the steak in the icebox, and please dress the chicken. When the meat arrived, Amelia Badelia opened the bag. She looked at the steak for a long time. Yes, she said, this will do nicely. Amelia Badelia got some lace and bits of ribbon, and Amelia Badelia trimmed that fat before she put the steak in the icebox. Now I must dress the chicken. I wonder if she wants a he chicken or a she chicken, said Amelia Badelia. So Amelia Badelia went right to work. Soon the chicken was finished. Amelia Badelia heard the door open. The folks are back, she said. Then she rushed to meet them. Amelia Badelia, why are all the light bulbs outside? Asked Mr. Rogers. The list just said to put the lights out, said Amelia Badelia. It didn't say to bring them back in. Oh, I do hope they didn't get aired for too long. Amelia Badelia, the sun will fade the furniture. I asked you to draw the drapes. I did. See, said Amelia Badelia, and she held up her picture. Then Mrs. Rogers saw the furniture. The furniture, she cried. Did I dust it well enough? Asked Amelia Badelia. That's such nice dusting powder. Then Mr. Rogers went to wash his hands. I say, these are very unusual towels. Mrs. Rogers dashed into the bathroom. Oh, my best towels, she said. Didn't I change them enough? Asked Amelia Badelia. Mrs. Rogers went into the kitchen. I'll cook the dinner. Where's the rice I asked you to measure? I put it back into the container, but I remember it measured 4.5 inches, said Amelia Badelia. Was the meat delivered? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Yes, said Amelia Badelia. I trimmed the fat just like you said. It does look nice. Mrs. Rogers rushed to the icebox. She opened it. Lace? Ribbons? Oh dear, said Mrs. Rogers. The chicken. You dressed the chicken, asked Mrs. Rogers. Yes, and I found the nicest box to put him in, said Amelia Badelia. Box, exclaimed Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers hurried over to the box. She looked at the lid, and there lay the chicken, as dressed as he could be. Mrs. Rogers was angry. She was very angry. She opened her mouth. Mrs. Rogers meant to tell Amelia Badelia she was fired. But before she could get the words out, Mr. Rogers put something in her mouth. It was so good, Mrs. Rogers forgot to be angry. Lemon meringue pie, she exclaimed. I made it to surprise you, said Amelia Badelia happily. So right then and there, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers decided that Amelia Badelia must stay. And so she did. Mrs. Rogers learned to say, undust the furniture, unlight the lights, close the drapes, and things like that. Mr. Rogers didn't care if Amelia Badelia trimmed all of the steaks with lace. All he cared about was having her there to make lemon meringue pie.